So, thank you very much indeed for coming along this morning to join us in this webinar to explore the work that we've been doing with the Royal School for the Deaf in terms of innovation in teaching and the ways that the school have worked with YouTeachMe to manage the COVID crisis and plans for how we work together moving forwards. I just wanted to do a quick welcome, quick housekeeping, and a little bit about how we're intending on managing the session today. So I'm pretty sure you won't know me. My name is Paul Rose. I am a former head teacher, and I am the founder of the company that's created YouTeachMe, which we'll look at as we move forwards. Kathy, if you want to just introduce yourself for anybody who doesn't know you.
Oh, hi. I'm Kathleen Sweeney.
Is it Kathy Birch?
Sorry,
yeah.
My fault. I should have been clear. Sorry, Kathleen.
It's okay. So who are we introducing? Is it me or?
No,
sorry. Okay, so my name is Kathy Birch and I'm a teacher of the deaf at the Royal School for the Deaf in Derby. I've taught maths for many, many years, year 7 to year 11. And I've been using YouTeachMe to help me teach those year groups.
Thanks, Kathy. I forgot to say, my fault. If attendees could pin me, Kathy Birch, and Jacinta as the interpreter, then you'll all be able to see us as we talk. And Kathy will obviously be signing as she speaks. So to pin us, if on the right hand side, if you just go to our names, Paul Rose, Kathy Birch, Jacinta Bowen, Brian Byrne, sorry, Jacinta.
Right.
There's an option there to pin us, and that will then just fix us on your screens. If anybody has any difficulties with those, please do let me know. So the welcome. So housekeeping. In terms of the session today, we advertise the webinar as an hour, but we know how busy you all are. So we're aiming for 45 minutes. It may be a little shorter than that. It may be a little longer than that, depending on whether anybody's got any questions or want to explore elements of the things that we talk about in more detail. In terms of the managing the session, if I could ask all of you to mute your microphones. We are recording this and we'll make it available. If you have to leave and go and do anything else, then I'll email you a link to the video for the whole session at the end. And so if you're not happy to have your face on the video, if you could switch your camera off as well. Thank you. So the purpose of the event is basically to share with you the work that we've been doing to support teaching in the Royal School for the Deaf, and mainly for you to hear from Kathy as a teacher. We're also going to be joined by Helen Shepherd, the head teacher, but who's unfortunately not able to join us right now, but she will be joining us shortly, hopefully, to hear from teacher perspectives and leadership perspectives about the way that work within the school has developed using technology. Housekeeping wise, we have no planned fire alarms. If you need to go to the toilet, I guess you know where they are. And if you've got any questions at any point throughout the sessions, I'm hoping this can be a relaxed session. So please do raise your hand. And to do that, at the bottom of the screen, as I'm sure you know, there's a reactions button. If you click on there, there's a raise hand option that will flag and we can come to you. Jacinta has asked for us to be patient because we will attempt to move people around and pin them on the screen so that everybody can see them, so that if the question is in BSL, then everybody can see it, and so on. And I guess the final thing to say is this is the first time I've done this, so please do bear with me, and I thank you for your patience if things become a little challenging as we go forwards. So launching right into it. So as I say, my name is Paul. I used to be, in a different life, I used to be a mainstream head teacher of an infant school here in Derby, just down the road from where Kathy and Helen work. And it was my first headship, and I took on a school that was in great difficulty. And there was a lot of, Ofsted call it turbulence, but there was a lot of chaos, I would perhaps call it. And there was a lot of staff change, and I replaced 2/3 of the teaching staff on the same day. And every single member of staff that I appointed was a newly qualified teacher out of Derby University. And we had very poor academic standards. Our standards were half the national average, and we have an overdue Ofsted inspection. So we were a school in real difficulty. And so I looked at what we could do in terms of professional development to help those inexperienced teachers to become effective very quickly. And the only way that I could look to do it, I could see to do it, was to pay them to get in their cars and to go out to other outstanding schools in the city and to sit and watch teaching happening there with consultants, to watch and learn, and then bring it back to our school. It worked. We turned the school round. We quadrupled standards in 2 years. We were told by Ofsted that we couldn't be outstanding because we'd improved too quickly, which was an interesting conversation, I can assure you. But that whole experience started me thinking about technology and why technology doesn't exist that can help teachers to do a more effective job. Because when that happens, outcomes improve, the school becomes more effective, and everybody benefits. So I'd looked around for technology and I couldn't find one. So I quit my job, knowing nothing about technology at all, but I quit my job and have spent the last 7 years building a technology that is able to help teachers and support staff to work more effectively, work together more effectively, and personalize outcomes for all learners. So that's the history of how we came to this point today. In a little while, you're going to hear Kathy talk about her experiences of teaching using the technology platform that I've spent my last 7 years working on, which is called YouTeachMe. So YouTeachMe is a video service that allows members of staff who work in schools using YouTeachMe to create and upload videos and then click a button and share them with learners. Wherever the learners are, on any device that the learner has access to. So whether it's a mobile phone or a tablet or a laptop or a desktop, as long as it's got internet and it's got a screen, the videos can be accessed to support their learning. So sharing videos between the member of staff who's created them and a single learner or a group of learners or the whole class means that the teacher is able to support learning wherever the young person is. And Kathy will talk in a little while about the benefits of that method of supporting learning during lockdown, when the young people are at home and conventional ways of teaching become much more difficult. It's also about then enabling staff to watch and learn from each other. So that, back when I was being a head teacher and I paid my teachers to go to other schools, digitally, YouTeachMe enables the same thing to happen. So where Kathy has made hundreds of maths videos, every member of staff in the Royal School for the Deaf is able to watch and listen to Kathy in their accounts. So they get access to specialist teaching where Kathy's created something to teach one learner or teach a group of learners. Every member of staff can access how she's teaching it. So it's really high quality professional development as well. It means that when videos are sent home, it means that parents are able to access the teaching knowledge that their child is receiving. And one of the really exciting things that we've been doing, certainly over the last 9 months, is looking at how parents with little or no BSL are able to access their child's teaching so that they're able to support and guide and get involved in their child's learning at home. So YouTeachMe is in use in the Royal School for the Deaf, but it's also in use in mainstream schools, special schools, a hospital school. We've been involved in teacher training. So a really broad range of teaching knowledge and expertise that exists within YouTeachMe. And we're working on bringing together all professionals who want to be involved, who want to work together and learn together, so that every member of staff can gain access to specialist professional development, and learners can benefit by receiving video content that's been potentially made by their teacher or has already been made by other teachers and other professionals working in their own and other schools. So that's a very brief history of where we come from and where we are now. And I think I will do a demonstration of YouTeachMe in a little while, but I think it would be really useful before I show how it works if Kathy shares her experiences of learning how to create teaching videos, learning how to upload them into YouTeachMe, learning how to share them with her learners and their parents, and some of the benefits and challenges that she's experienced. So I'll stop talking and I'll hand over to Kathy. Thanks, Kathy.
That's great. Hello, everyone. I'm Kathy. Thank you very much for the introduction, Paul. About 3 years ago, really, I had no idea about technology myself, and I tried to film myself teaching. But then there was the editing, and then I had to learn how to upload things. And actually uploading things is really, really easy. That part is really easy. And the filming is quite challenging. But over the time, I've got used to having the camera, doing it on my phone, seeing myself teaching. And also I can do it at home. I've bought this. It's a whiteboard that I can film, and it's the same as I use at school. But really, it's been useful over lockdown immensely. So I aimed to start with the year 11s, obviously GCSE year, with their familiar topics. And it was hard for them because obviously they forget things when they were at home and they were trying to revise. So using YouTeachMe, they were able to go back and watch those videos for revision. And then I got year 11s asking me of, topics that they wanted to see and revise on. And that was really good that it was coming from those. And I made about 200 different videos. But also seeing myself on video, sometimes I think, that wasn't quite clear. I could explain that better or in a different way. And the feedback from parents was amazing. They were saying how useful it was, not only for revision, but for homework, because at home, sometimes they go, I can't quite remember, but parents could actually sit and watch the video and give support to the learners. Also, obviously with new staff who are joining the school, they could see how I teach and learn from that. And then that's also helped me because other mainstream videos are on there, which I've been able to access with subtitles. And I could say, maybe that would be suitable for my learners, or I could take an idea from that and develop it to match the needs of my students. Also, it's really easy to create a class. It could be that you select some year 7s and some year 9s and some year 10s and put them together as a learning class, and then you'd upload the video to them. It's very easy to do that and edit the video per student, so to say. It's also very useful for assemblies because obviously we can't congregate in the hall. So teachers can create material for an assembly and students can watch those from home, even as a school. So only very recently on Friday, there was a new thing, which actually is amazing. The video that I had uploaded, you can actually use attachments with them. So I can create a worksheet and attach it to the video so they can actually work alongside watching the video. And that's amazing. But if there's been any problems or issues, I've just always emailed Paul and very, very quickly he was responded, or, taught me how to do things better or to explain things easier or fixed it for me. And I really, really appreciate, because everything is there. Over the 3 years, I would say I've been teaching year 9, and I look back at old videos, old subjects that I taught, and algebra, and it's there, and it's actually really useful to be able to go back and brush up on my skills from them. Sometimes I can have 14 or 15 students, maybe a few of those will not understand, and I can point those to a video that I've already made and carry on teaching with the rest of the students. But I think that's about everything. I think I've covered everything there, Paul.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kathy. Somebody's just asked about whether the session recording will be available afterwards because their internet's not that stable. Yes, the whole session is being recorded. At the end of this, I'll email out a link to everybody who has attended, and you'll be able to watch the recording back. So thank you very much, Kathy. I think now's a really good time, if nobody's got any questions at this point, to do a very quick demonstration and show some of the things that Kathy's been talking about teaching, about professional development, about assemblies, etc. So I will just share my screen, and let's hope that this works. And we'll have a quick demonstration. So this is my, let's move that away. So this is a staff YouTeachMe account. I would love to have demonstrated using Kathy's live account, the account that she's created nearly 300 teaching videos and uploaded into, and show the way that it's actually happening in Royal School for the Deaf. But I can't do that because of data protection regulations, because it contains the names of all of the students in the school that Kathy is responsible for teaching. And so I'm going to demonstrate using my fake school account. So it's live within YouTeachMe. It's able to access the teaching that's been shared from the Royal School for the Deaf, the teaching that's been shared from other schools. And I have a class of 30 infant school children. So I've stuck with what I know. So I've got my account set up as if it's an infant school class, 30 children, the national curriculum subjects being taught, and I'll show you how it works. So when a member of staff uploads videos, and that their permission is controlled by the leadership team. So the leadership team can make sure that everybody within their school is working in the right way. So some members of staff can upload videos, some can't. Some members of staff can send videos to learners, other members of staff can't. So all of that's controlled by the leadership team. So in my account, I have the ability to upload videos. So I have an upload page, and I can upload any videos that will help me do my job more effectively. So I might make a video to support a single learner. I might make a video to pre-teach a group of learners, something that I think they might find difficult when I come to teach it them in the lesson tomorrow. So I might just grab my phone, as Kathy said, or grab an iPad, make a quick video and say, this is the teaching that I'm going to do tomorrow. This will help you to learn that concept, and you can then consolidate it in the lesson when everybody else has introduced it to it for the first time. So whatever the video is, it can be uploaded, you can add attachments, and you can specify what kind of teaching it is. So in a deaf school, all the teachers have the ability to upload teaching as deaf teaching for learners who are deaf but are making normal academic progress. You can upload it as mainstream teaching, as a resource that can work for everybody. You can upload it as SEND teaching. And each choice you make shows a slightly different pathway in terms of how the video is then categorized. And when that's uploaded, the video appears in the teacher's account, they can send it to their learners, and it's then searchable by other people working in their school. If they want to, they can share it with other schools. And I'm incredibly grateful to Kathy and many of her colleagues who are sharing the videos that they've been creating, so that other people working in other schools, in other locations, are able to access the teaching knowledge and expertise that the Royal School for the Deaf has. So when you upload a video, it appears on your Teach page. So the last video I uploaded was a video of a winter sunset that I captured a week or so ago. And that sits alongside videos to support PE at home during lockdown, PE activities, and other videos about nursery rhymes, other videos I've made about gymnastics routines, multiplication games in maths, some juggling activities. Whatever it is that I'm doing in my role, I can create videos for and I can share them with my learners. And the sharing them with my learners looks like this. So I can see the class or classes that I teach, and I choose the class. Then I can see the subjects that I teach. So let's send a maths video. And then I see the students that I teach. So I've got 30 children in my class, and I can send the video to all 30 students. I can send it to one student and go for complete personalization, or I can create groups and join children together into a group and then send the videos to each child in that group. But if we're going to send it to a single learner, for example, it might be that I want to extend a learner. So we've talked about targeting learners that might struggle. The other end of the spectrum might be a learner that needs to be accelerated, needs to be pushed on. So I can target a single learner, and it's saying, I'm going to send a video to Matt Damon about maths, and he's in class 1. And so all I do is I find a video that I want to send him, and I click on the plus, and I can show it to him. I can add attachments, as Kathy was talking about. That's a new feature that schools asked for, which we introduced last week. But in terms of sharing the video content with a child, I've made this video before, and all I need to do is to click on the eyeball and the video will display. What it looks like in the learner account is, there's the wrong learner here. So let me just log out and log back in. I do apologize. So in the learner's account, what you've got is a video that I've made as this learner's teacher, the maths video supporting their teaching, supporting their learning and enabling them to accelerate. Sat alongside that maths video is design and technology videos, is science videos, English videos, whatever it is across the entire curriculum that will benefit this learner and enable them to learn. Now, this account, the learner account, is accessible on, as I say, on a mobile phone and any device upwards, and it's accessible anywhere. So the parent is then able to sit with their child and look at the teaching as it happens in a range of subjects, personalized to that child. In terms of teachers who won't make videos, and that's perfectly understandable, that making a video and sharing it with learners, with parents, and with your colleagues is a barrier to quite a few members of staff, and that's perfectly understandable. However, every member of staff has access to a growing bank of knowledge and expertise on the search page. Excuse me. So the search page is available to every member of staff in every school, and they can filter according to the work, the teaching that they're interested in. So if they click on the filter, they can search and watch deaf teaching. They can search and watch mainstream teaching, special educational needs teaching from special schools and specialist units, assemblies and materials, and then CPD materials. So if we just have a look at deaf teaching, the upload process that says what year group is this, what key stage is it appropriate for, what's the subject, what's the concept, etc., is the search method by which you're able to see deaf teaching that's coming entirely from the Royal School for the Deaf at the moment. But hopefully, as we work with more deaf schools, more of a collective knowledge and expertise that becomes available to everybody. So if we look at maths videos and we look at Foundation GCSE, here's Kathy teaching her students her methodology for calculating the answers to various concepts. So when we watch the video, what we see first of all is the base video as Kathy created it. So this is Kathy's teaching on estimating the number of times estimating the number of times and probability. Now, I don't speak BSL, and so I can see Kathy's teaching, and as a former head, I can see the progression in her teaching. But this teaching is as unaccessible to me as it is to lots of the parents of learners at the Royal School for the Deaf. So one of the things that we've done is we work to add captions to videos. This one doesn't yet have captions on it, but we work with ComPlus, a deaf organisation in Birmingham, to have voiceover translations into English. So as a member of staff who doesn't speak BSL, I'm able to click on that icon there.
So here we're talking about probability.
I'm not sure my sound is loud enough.
You would pick a specific sweet. So in this example, we have a tin, and in the tin, there are different types of sweets.
So I hope you can hear that, but we've got a BSL translator translating Kathy's teaching into English.
Probability.
I'm able to therefore access it and look at it and say, okay, I can take that video that Kathy's made, I can add it into my favourites, ready to share with my learners. And then I can go through and see what other videos Kathy's made. So here we can see Kathy's made 290 videos, and the vast majority of them have been voiceover translated into English and are also captioned. So every combination to enable accessibility. So I can take all of these videos because Kathy's generously shared them, and I can bring them into my classroom and I can use them to support my learners. I can also follow Kathy, which means every new video Kathy makes and shares lands in my account, and the platform brings it directly to me. So it's reducing workload whilst improving professional development. I can then go back to teach, and I can then support my learners in my classroom using Kathy's teaching knowledge and expertise. So I go back to the class, I go back to maths, and this time I'm going to send it to all pupils. And it's not a video I've made, it's a video that I've searched for and favorited. And so I'm now able to send Kathy's video, and when it lands in the young person's account, they then have the same set of choices available to them, which is, do I want to access the video in BSL? Do I need it captioned as well? Because that's available. Or if I'm the parent, I'm going to access my child's teaching in English, potentially with captions if that's beneficial as well. So
this is talking about...
We're very much working in partnership with the Royal School for the Deaf, in so much as Kathy and her colleagues are creating videos, some of which are shared, some of which are kept just within the Royal School for the Deaf, and that's controlled by each individual member of staff, what they're happy with. And we then, as an organisation, we do the work on the captioning and the voiceover translations into English. That's something that we've been doing for the last 9 months, and it is our plan to continue doing that, so that we build a bank of knowledge and expertise that's shareable across schools, deaf units within mainstream schools, hopefully, but also to enable all families to access it. In terms of professional development, every member of staff can then access teaching from mainstream schools and choose what year group and subject, etc. that is, or visit special schools and access specialist teaching for learners with additional needs. So if we look at science, for example, what we see here is a teacher who's created resources to help PMLD learners in a 4 to 19 special school teaching science concepts. So we can see the video that they create, and we start to access their knowledge and expertise and bring that in. So we're able to meet the needs of our learners however is best for them. So we might make some content ourselves, we might use content made by our colleagues, we might use content made by colleagues in other schools. All of this is available to every member of staff and can be taken and sent to learners just by favoriting. One of the other areas that we've developed over time is working with special schools. We have identified a need for helping young people to learn beyond the curriculum. So as you can see here, these are videos that are not specifically teaching a subject area, but more teaching life skills, teaching how to stay safe, etc. So a video like this.
David was playing with his ball near the river, and his ball's gone in the water. It's not very far out. Should he try and get it?
So a video like that, very short, 10 to 15 seconds long, is designed to start conversations between young people and their teachers, young people and the learning mentor, young people and parents, whoever it is, whichever adult it is that needs to have conversations about how to stay safe, how to manage everyday life. We identified that video as a perfect medium for it. There's well over 1,000 videos. I think it's now upwards of 1,250 videos about everyday life, about traveling on public transport, about shopping, about going to get your hair cut, about going to the cinema, about staying safe. So hundreds of videos about safety, stranger danger, online safety, etc. And we've got great examples of young people young people attending the schools that we work with who appear in the videos themselves. So if we search for safety, helps if I can spell safety, doesn't it? So videos about road safety, videos about health and safety in a design and technology department in a secondary special school, the young people appearing in the videos themselves. So enabling young people to see other young people like themselves on screen in a safe way, teaching the younger young people what it is that they need to learn.
How to use it. So we've got Adam here who's starting to drill, and you might find that you get turned away.
So the final thing that I'd like to show you, just hopefully this isn't too much for you, is around professional development. We're working with schools to create materials to support the wider professional development of staff. So one of the special schools we work with wanted to create CPD materials designed specifically for adults, not for learners. So this is Abby, who is a specialist leader of education for SEND. She's deputy head of Ashmount School in Loughborough. She has worked with us to create teaching materials for staff and for parents where PECS is involved with the child. So picture exchange communication system for pre-verbal autistic learners. We've created together about 45 videos that work in a sequence to enable adults to understand what PECS is, how it's implemented, how it's assessed, how it's progressed, etc. And so they sit as professional development materials alongside materials made in mainstream schools. Hopefully, after lockdown, we'll be able to work with the Royal School for the Deaf and other schools in creating specialist deaf content. Some of this content, because it's spoken, we have created captions over the top, so that they are starting to become accessible to the staff in RSDD and to RSDD parents. It's a work in progress, and we currently have available on the search page about 8,000 videos in YouTeachMe available to members of staff for them to be able to watch, learn from, access and share out with families and so on. Obviously, that's a major task in terms of captioning. We've done exploratory work with ComPlus in terms of doing BSL interpretation over the top of spoken teaching. And that's something that Kathy and her colleagues at the Royal School for the Deaf thought, yeah, it's not great teaching for our learners right now. I think, you know, they asked for us to focus on captioning and making accessible their teaching. And with a plan to say, as we move forwards, how do we take some of the teaching that's from special schools and mainstream schools and make that more accessible through BSL interpretation. I plan to finish at 10:05, and I've talked until 10:10. So I think it's now a good time for me to stop talking. Helen's the head teacher at RSDD has just joined us. So thanks for joining us, Helen. I hope everything's all right. If you wouldn't mind unmuting your microphone and just talking about YouTeachMe from a leadership perspective. What's it been like introducing it into RSDD? What's been the challenges, the benefits that you've seen, etc.? I'll be quiet. Thank you.
Right. I think we were using it before lockdown, so we were doing it quite nicely before, and it was really good for setting homeworks and you know, if children were off long-term sick or anything, then they were still able to access. It's come into its own during lockdown because it means that we can deliver signed lessons. From my point of view as a leader, it's just given me confidence that I know that what's going on in lessons is going well, and I know that children can access their lessons. And it's just one less thing to be worrying about, because at the moment there's just so much going on, and it's just a really good way, and parents are really enjoying it as well. So confidence, I think, is the big word.
Brilliant, thank you, Helen. Okay, so that's hopefully given you an insight into where we've come from in terms of developing the idea, an overview of how it works in terms of supporting learning, supporting professional development, supporting parents, and so on. I'm sure, I hope, that there's questions that you'd like to ask of myself, of Kathy, of Helen. So if anybody's got any questions that they'd like to ask, if you wouldn't mind just raising your hand so we can have a go and see if we can pin you so that everybody can see you. Is there anything that you'd like to explore in more detail, or that you'd like to ask any of us?
A couple of questions, if that's okay, Paul.
Sure.
Okay.
Sorry, just before you start, who's speaking? Sorry, is it?
Right, sorry, I'm Nicola Runcie, assistant head at Thompson Memorial School for the Deaf in Bolton.
Okay, hi.
Just a couple of questions. So you said it's internet based, so nothing needs to go on the school network, is that correct?
Correct. So nothing needs to go on the school network at all. So YouTeachMe, it's hosted on AWS. It has banking level security, encryption, etc. And everything is hosted and streamed by us. So the video content itself is hosted and streamed on Vimeo. And there's a simple URL that the tech people put into the firewall that allows YouTeachMe videos to play and to be accessible, but leaves everything else on Vimeo blocked. So it's entirely safe. And everything is managed by us, and it's a central place. It is a website, so there is a URL that staff go to log in, and then there's a specific URL for all of your learners. So some of the special schools have created QR codes, for example, and the learner or their parent just scans the QR code and it takes them straight to the login page for children. They type in their username and password, which are chosen by the school, and they're into their account, and it's basically all just running, hosted and streamed by us.
Brilliant, thank you. And then the other one's probably the obvious one, cost.
Sure, always the obvious question. So the cost is £15 per pupil per annum, based on number and roll. And that gets every member of staff and every learner within the school an account. That can include governors, for example. So, you know, there's lots of things that YouTeachMe is able to do or is already doing in schools that we haven't really covered. And I didn't want to overface everybody by putting too much information into it. But if you're looking at how do governors get an oversight in terms of what's happening, if governors have a YouTeachMe account like the members of staff do, then the governors can see teaching happening in different classes across the school. It's not the same as sitting in and observing in a lesson, but obviously being able to do it at a time that's convenient to them is very beneficial as well. And that's certainly being used very successfully in some schools. So yeah, £15 per pupil per year based on number on roll, and schools can subscribe for as long as they wish. A minimum of a year, because that makes sense. But if they want to subscribe for longer and fix the price at that price forever, so they sign up for 5 years, and it stays fixed at £15 per learner per year for 5 years. It's a fixed amount. It's invoiced every April, and you can plan for it in your budget. Yeah, so that's the cost.
Thank you.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. Has anybody else got any questions?
Kath's got a hand up.
Who has? Sorry, Kath.
Kath Sweeney. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. It doesn't flag to me that anybody's got their hand up, which is a bit. There you go. Hi, Kathleen.
She normally just shouts, so I don't know why she's being so polite.
It's true. My question is that we're a deaf resource base in a mainstream school, and the mainstream school and we as well are using other platforms. So would it be possible for just the resource base to buy into this?
Sure. If that's what you would like to do, yeah, that's not a problem at all. Basically, we use a company called Wand to do data extraction from the school's MIS system. With RSDD, we actually do that manually, and so once a year we update all of the information manually. We work with the school to do that because that's their preference. With almost all of the schools that we work with, we use a company called Wand, who extract data from about 3/4 of all schools in the UK. When that Wand extract is being set up, it connects to MIS, SIMS or Integris or whatever MIS you're using. The school gives permission for that to happen. So Wand will contact the school business manager typically, and the school business manager has control over what data is extracted. So basically the school business manager could say, okay, these members of staff, they need an account. These students, they need an account. Everybody else doesn't. And therefore that's all that's extracted. Accounts are then created automatically. So staff accounts are created automatically, student accounts are created automatically, and we do a little bit of work with the school if necessary to just establish the link between the teachers and the students. So for example, in that demo I just did, class 1 is the class that I teach and it's got 30 children in it. That information might be in the MIS or might not. So secondaries tend to have all the data there because they have data managers and people are just keeping everything updated all day, every day. Primaries and RSDD, for example, don't have that same level of data in there. So we work with the school to just make sure everything's configured correctly. The benefit of that is when the staff log in for the first time, they have access to 8,000 resources. They are able to see the classes that they teach, the subjects that they deliver, the students that they teach, and they literally just then go, oh, I'll take that video and I'll send that out. That's it. So very quick in terms of staff engagement because of the automation in setting things up. That Wand extract runs overnight, every night. So if you have leavers, it'll close down their accounts. If you have new starters, it will pick up that as a new starter gone into the MIS and go, new pupil in class 1, create an account for them. And they will just appear the next day for the teacher. So there is some management in terms of it, but it's certainly light touch management.
Right, that's great. Thanks very much.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you.
Sheila's got a hand up.
Hi there, that follows on very much from what Kath was saying. I was going to ask, I'm up in the very north of Scotland in the Highlands, largest unitary authority. We're well established with all the Google suite. I've been using it for a long time now. It's very well established. All the kids have their own devices. My service, we have a primary base, a secondary base, and a peripatetic service. So following on from Kath, yes, it works for a resource base within a mainstream school. How about a peripatetic service?
That's a very good question. So, and I'm glad you've raised it, Sheila, thank you. So YouTeachMe is the service for traditional schools. And what I mean by that is a school building with a school's team and a pupil body. But that obviously isn't how every learner learns, and that isn't how every organisation works. So we do have another service, which was based on the code. So about 2 years ago, we looked at it and said, how do families who are home educating young people with special educational needs who don't have a place in special school, excluded young people, how do we work to meet those young people's needs? So we took the code from YouTeachMe, we picked it up, we copied it, we put it back down, and we turned it into a service called YouTeachMe 2, which is a little bit like, I would describe it as a bit like Netflix for education, in so much as any family anywhere can subscribe on a rolling monthly subscription to access some of the teaching materials that we've created with schools. Kathy, for example, is very, very kindly sharing her teaching with parents through that YouTeachMe 2 service as well. So how does YouTeachMe 2 work? In similar ways, but in slightly different ways. And we've had, well, we should have had a pilot project completed by now with a virtual school. The virtual school down the road in Derby City, where I'm based, and we were going to run a pilot for supporting carers of looked after children of Derby children, but wherever they are across the UK, from Cornwall to Newcastle, where the teaching staff in the virtual school were able to connect safely and appropriately with carers in foster homes and children's homes up and down the UK, and we're able to send video content to them to support them. That is a methodology that might work for your service, and I would suggest that it's well worth a follow-up conversation and a demo so we can explore that in a bit more detail. But certainly between the two, we are having some very interesting conversations as we speak with local authorities about how YouTeachMe and YouTeachMe 2 can support every child associated with education across an entire local authority. And that includes looked after children, children excluded, children elective home educating, etc., etc. So the potential is there. Whether it would perfectly fit for your organisation, I don't know. But we've been on this development journey for 7 years. And I was a mainstream person understanding mainstream education and infant phase, early years and infants. And as I've gone along and we've worked with new organisations, those new challenges that those organisations are facing have surfaced, and they've said, well, yeah, it's good, but, you know, it doesn't kind of work for us because. And so we've, every step of the way, we've worked with the schools to say, so what is it you need? Secondaries teach slightly differently to how primaries teach. Special schools teach very differently to how mainstream schools teach. The Royal School for the Deaf have their own unique way of teaching, and we've worked with them to say, okay, so you can create the videos, but your parents can't access it. How do we do that? And so that icon that has the voiceover translation into English, we've developed completely with the Royal School for the Deaf. And we've gone to Kathy and to Helen and to all of the colleagues and said, okay, so what's the best way of doing this? What's best practice? Which is why we've ended up with it the way that it is, where the base BSL teaching is just the BSL video as Kathy made it or as one of her colleagues have made it, because to put a voiceover over the top is in a funny kind of way, kind of disrespectful of BSL as a language in its own right. So we treat BSL teaching the same way as we treat English teaching, etc. And if somebody needs something else, we've developed the add-on to enable that accessibility to happen. So in terms of your organisation and the challenges that you face, I'd be really keen to work with you to say, how do we take what we've developed so far and apply it? And if it can't be applied directly, how do we then change it and make it even more flexible so that it meets your needs as well? Because
I'd be really keen to have a chat with you. That would be really interesting. Yes, thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
Much appreciated.
Anybody else got any more questions?
So, Kathy's saying Danny had put something in the chat. Not sure what it is.
So Danny had asked, are all the videos filmed one-way teaching, i.e. are they filmed live while the teacher is teaching a class, or does the teacher film themselves without a class in front of them? Kathy, do you want to talk about what video creation looks like in your school?
Okay, so I don't do a live film while I'm teaching the children. I'll do it in my own room or in the classroom when the children are not there, because if I'm doing it when it's live teaching, it'll be too long. So really they're short videos of 2 to 3 minutes, because after 3 minutes learners are not really going to engage with the video. So I pre-record them and send them out to the learners. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Kathy. If I can add to that, we have done a lot of work in terms of what remote learning looks like, what learning at distance looks like. So one of the things that we didn't show you was the ability to create video series. So you can upload, so any member of staff who can upload videos can upload multiple videos and then in seconds join them together into a viewing order, which we call a series. So we have lots of examples of teaching where the teaching process is broken up and enables the learner who receives the video to view them in order and work their way through. So video 1 might say, okay, so we're going to look at how to find the highest common prime factor. And here's a question like that. In the next video, I'm going to start off by reminding you about prime numbers, because in order to answer the question, find the highest common prime factor, you need to know what prime numbers are. So video 2 is, here's the teaching about prime numbers. Video 3 is, here's some questions about prime numbers for you to have a go at. Video 4 is, okay, you've had a go at the questions, now I'm going to work through the answers so you can see how I have worked out the answers, and I shall cover common misconceptions. Video 5 is, okay, so we've done prime numbers, now we need to think about factors. What is a factor? And video 6, video 7, video 8, video 9, and so on. So there's a methodology within YouTeachMe that allows teachers to plan progressive learning, whether the children are 4 or 14, it doesn't matter. That methodology of watch this, then have a go at that, then be taught a follow on, and so on, means that it's more powerful than a live session where learners can get left behind. You're not able to push on learners as you might wish to, etc. We've developed a number of features in light of the COVID challenges, and we're introducing those into YouTeachMe as we go along. So Kathy mentioned earlier on about attachments on videos, that when you upload a video, you can add up to 6 attachments that are downloadable by the learner who receives it. So it might be a PowerPoint to go with it. It might be an associated PDF worksheet. It might be a Word document for them to complete, etc. So that was directly requested by teaching staff using YouTeachMe and saying, actually, this will make it better. Prior to that, the first thing that when COVID struck, the first thing that teachers said was, it's great that we're able to send video content out to learners, but we don't know who's watched it. So how do we find that out? So back in the autumn, we built in the ability for teachers within their account to click on a button, open a page that displays every child who's received every video and how many times they've watched it. We have worked with the schools to make sure that they're happy with how that functions, so that children can't cheat the system and pretend they've watched it when they haven't, and so on. And there's also a feedback, a very simplistic feedback function built in. Green thumb, a red thumb, an amber thumb, and the teachers can see that too. So that we introduced in the autumn. Attachments were introduced last week. In about 4 weeks' time, we are introducing the kind of final part of this development about teaching, where safely and appropriately children will be able to take photographs of the work that they've done based on a video that's been sent and potentially an attachment that's been downloaded, do the work, take a photograph of the work and upload it back onto the video so it appears back to the member of staff. So that the member of staff can then not only see who's watched the videos, how often they've watched it, how they're feeling about the video, they can see the work that they've done, and then the teacher can respond as well. So we're about 4 weeks away from that new introduction, which has been designed to meet the needs that the schools have been expressing. Has anybody got any more questions? Anything else in the chat that I've missed? Okay, so let's assume that all the questions are done. I just wanted to round off. We've got 1 minute left. I just wanted to round off by saying thank you so much for coming along. I put my contact details into the chat right at the beginning of the chat, and I'd love to have follow-up conversations with anybody who is interested in potentially looking at introducing YouTeachMe into your organization. Anybody who isn't interested in introducing YouTeachMe into their organization, but has thoughts about ways that it can be developed to support deaf learners, deaf parents, deaf education in general. And just to kind of share with you that, you know, we are working collectively to promote deaf education, not only just within deaf schools and deaf units, but actually to promote the value of deaf education across all schools, mainstream schools, special schools, etc. Because we know that there's a lot of young people out there who need the benefits of the specialist deaf teaching and aren't necessarily getting the support they need either in school or outside of school. So anything that you can offer in terms of introductions to people that you think would be interested, ways that we can develop it further, ways that you can engage with us and we can work together to build a collective within YouTeachMe, anything that you're able to offer would be very gratefully received. Oh, there's a couple of messages. Let's just see what they are.
Asking for your contact details again.
So my contact details, my email, I'll put it in the chat, paul@youteachme.co.uk. My mobile number, and it is my personal mobile number. So, well, why is that not working? Yeah. Oh, it's got to go to everybody. Sorry. Never worked with technology, children or animals. And I've worked with children and I'm now working with technology. I'm going to be a zookeeper next. My mobile phone number is here. And we're on Twitter. If you want to chat with us through Twitter, we're at YouTeachMe. So please do drop me a line, get in touch. It would be great to talk with you. It's 10:32. I'm absolutely gobsmacked that we've managed to only overrun by 2 minutes. So obviously the very final thing is for me to say a huge thank you to Helen and Kathy for giving their time to come and talk about their experiences, for all of the support that they've given us so far, and to say I'm really excited about where we're going in the future. So thank you ever so much, everybody. I hope to hear from you soon, and thank you for coming along. Really appreciate it.